was treated with urgency and that normal operations are expected to resume today. When CNC3 News visited the location yesterday, several members of the public were seen leaving disappointed after learning that services were suspended.
I brought my sister here this morning to do a renewal of the permit here, and they say the system facility there and the sewer system giving some trouble. And they tell everybody else to head up. Maybe either come out tomorrow or just they want till the 7th. I feel the system could have worked out a little better for them and get things going faster, better.
Those were your 6 a.m. news headlines. We'll have another news update at the top of the hour, right here on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network.
Morning Brew is brought to you by Omega XL. Live long, stay strong.
Good Tuesday morning, running into your brand new day, Tuesday the 4th of November 2025. Jason Williams signing on, JW, indeed, in your company. I'm here with the amazing team. We go until 8 o'clock, and there was lots to unpack. Of course, we keep the conversation within the context of what's happening via our southern Caribbean seas, the geopolitical uncertainty. We will do a deep dive, get a perspective from a former diplomat, and indeed get the business perspective inside the first hour. And as per usual, the second hour, always informative. I'll give you some details momentarily. Let's head to the front page of The Guardian because, again, we are looking at clearly what is some uncharted waters. And based on the rhetoric coming out of Washington, well, this time around it was Mar-a-Lago in Florida because the president of the U.S. granted that 60-minute interview to the journalists in Florida. He did not say outright there's going to be any ground action. However, he did mention, and I, if you recall, spoke on this particular matter yesterday, because if there's one thing, I am on top of this story. Every single coverage via text, via the edited video presentations, and I'm looking at this across the board from the Asian perspective to the Western perspective to the European perspective. A lot of people looking at this development. And yes, indeed, President Trump, he never confirmed any kind of ground action. However, he did say that the president of Venezuela, Presidente Maduro, his days are numbered. So we beg to ask the question, if his days are numbered, how are they going to oust him if this is going to be some kind of extraction, some kind of covert operation with operatives who are already, well, it's quite apparent, they're operatives in Venezuela as we speak. How are they going to get this man out? Because the conversation now shifting to regime change, which will rubbish the original claim of narco-trafficking. And I was always, from day one, suggesting it didn't sit down right with me. Of course, we want to put a serious dent in the drug trade. But there's a particular way you go about it, and the reality is you don't bring that kind of military arsenal unless it's going to stay here permanently, and that's not going to be the case. All these warships and aircraft carriers, they're going to sail back up north. To really fight drugs, you don't blow up pirogue. These are the employees. These are small fish in the grand cycle and ecosystem of the drug trade. What about the employers? What about the men on land right here in Trinidad, where everybody in South and in North and in the West and in the East and in Tobago know who are the big players? You know exactly where the blocks are. Police do. So if you want to fight drugs, we don't put our drug fight squarely on the shoulders of the U.S. and their military might to blow up pirogue that make and run. Whether it's drugs, whether it's fish, whether it's cheese, I have no idea what was on the boat, including those looking on this morning. So let's make sense of the moment and recognize that these are indeed And certain times, and we have always seen, I've said it from jump, you know, and again, it's not about no politics, you know, it's not about politics. This is about country. This is about what we have seen play out via the U.S. and the foreign policy for years, where they have, firstly the plan was, we see the template. You demonize the opponent, then you come up with a particular, you know, narrative that, okay, they're dealing with something, or there's some kind of weapon of mass destruction, or this person is bad for business, and then you run in and run up their chest and run down their back and take them out, and, you know, they go back up north, and 9 out of 10 times the particular area that would have been interfered with is in a shambles for a very, very long time. We have seen it with Iraq, we have seen it with Libya, we have seen it with Lebanon back in the 80s. The list goes on, and we kind of just standing by and holding on. And yesterday, a matter of fact, you'll see the interviews on Friday, the man on the street. A lot of folks, it's almost like people know what's going on, but they're ignoring it. It's one of those issues where, you know, we as Trinbagonians, there's something blatant in your face, but you're just trying to pretend it doesn't exist, and everybody's leaving it up to God and leaving it into God's hands. And yes, faith is very important, but more so decisions by those in the role of leadership, those behind the wheel. And I'm telling you, I mean, I don't want anything to jump off. We have so many functions to come. Christmas is around the corner. Carnival is in the air. We don't want any kind of curfew on lockdown and the air zone, you know, the lock off flights and all. I mean, we don't want COVID part 2, but at the same time, you know, we look on and we just hope that obviously this is able to just ease out and we're able to function going forward. Let me make mention really quick before I head to the back page of the Prime Minister's arrival via, well, Cal on Tobago soil right now. She went there last evening to meet with the Chief Secretary. There's going to be lots of discussions, I'm sure, into the day, new day today, Tuesday. And may I say, you can see all smiles, a very cordial interaction there. And may I say that the PM, especially via the budget, they've really given Tobago, well, I would say more space to maneuver and to develop themselves. And it's going to be a real tall order for PNM to get back into any kind of momentum there in Tobago. And imagine the former PM was indeed from Tobago, and the UNC government, they are the ones who would have said, you know what, Tobago, let's give you a little extras here to sort yourself out. So we'll see how things pan out with their particular discussion and what comes out of today's meeting. We get to the back page. What a big game in the Southland yesterday. What a big game. Naps revived title hopes. Look at people in the background. That's what I'm happy about. Besides the football being exciting and a win for Naparima yesterday against arch rivals St. Benedict's, the turnout was tremendous, and football is alive in the Southland. Anytime you have a Naps Benedict's, a Naps Prez, a Prez, you know, the South Classicos, oh, people come out. So well done. Congrats to Naps. Great win. And it's going to make the business end of the schoolboy Tier 1 League very interesting. Let's head now to the brief on this Tuesday morning. And as you can see, a fisherman out there operating his boat there, Cedra side, casting his net. These fishermen staying close to land, you know. When they're taking no chance and really trying to venture out, and it's like the fish not even holding. Sometimes you have to really go a bit far to hold the fish. So fishermen, whether it's the East Coast, South Coast, Southwestern Coast, where I spent my formative years, fishermen on the north, even the fishermen in Tobago, men batting in the crease this round here, you know, because you don't know. The uncertainty is real. And in that regard, we're going to get a chance to dive into this very important discussion, as mentioned. Former diplomat, former AG, Garvin Nichols, Nicholas, as a matter of fact, he joins me, and we're going to treat this morning. I'll have a nice discussion with Gavin concerning the regional geopolitical gymnastics that's happening as we speak, and diplomatic relations from his experience within that diplomatic corps. How could we treat with this via, I would say, important discussion so that we don't get to any kind of eventuality. Gavin Nicholas joins me next.
Get a loan at Bremont. The process is simple. Fast and efficient approvals. Receive funds within 24 hours once approved. And no penalty for early repayment. Located at 4 Gallas Street, Woodbrook. Remember, we like to lend.
Now this is Radical Trading. You know that? And them have everything to cover anything. Radical Trading have the best fabric designs for your upholstery needs, yeah. The furniture, car, boat, tent, even material for school bags.
This will look really nice on my couch, boy.
They even making pillow too.
Sprang.
Oui.
Oh, shucks, I forget my money.
Serious?
They could pay for it for me.
Me and my big mouth boy, I wonder if Radical get thing to cover mouth yet.
Radical Trading, 4 locations nationwide.
Ping pong, from Charles Chocolates, bounce into flavor. Ping pong, everybody wants some. Roasted peanuts is the true #1. Ping pong, you better get a handful. This chocolate is so incredible. What's the snack everybody craves for? Ping pong, bounce into flavor. Chocolate coated peanuts, delicious top class A+. Ping pong, from Charles Chocolates, bounce into flavor.
Do you think all dishwashing soaps are the same? With some, they require more effort, and they don't wash as much. Try Dawn and discover its grease cleaning power. Dawn removes stubborn grease easier and faster than others. Additionally, it foam lasts 50% more. With Dawn, you use less product to clean more dishes and save with every wash. Dawn, triple grease cleaning power.
What do you think of Kamala's outfit?
Now, an outfit. If an outfit is worn inside, is it really an outfit? All right.
We're going.
Are we doing people's work?
Yeah. Where?
No, people's work. It's done on CNC3 on the rundown. Oh, you thought it was here?
Yeah, but
no. It's done on CNC.
Former diplomat and, of course, Attorney General Gavin Nicholas joins me. Very important discussion ahead, because through your diplomatic lens, I would imagine, is there still room for diplomacy, for discussions? I would hope so, and I would ask you this morning, how do we begin that process? As always, sincere thanks for being here, coming in live this morning to share a very important talking point with myself and the nation. Welcome, Gavin. Good to see you.
First of all, let me say good morning to you and to all your viewers and listeners throughout Trinidad and Tobago and beyond. Thank you for inviting me to come in this morning.
Diplomatic lines clearly are still open, because the ambassador to Venezuela is still here in Port of Spain, and we have representation in Caracas, not an ambassador just yet, but we have clearly
a chargé.
Yes, diplomatic corps there. So at least, even though the leaders might be throwing talk across the bow, there is still indeed, via the diplomatic channels, discussions. This is still very much, through your lens, a good look, a positive look?
Well, let me first say that when leaders speak, they can have a little tiss, and that is both for posturing and for negotiating. A lot of the times. And you see it across the globe. As you quite rightly said, what is important is that the talks continue. When you panic is when talks break down and diplomats are expelled, and that sort of, those sorts of actions take place. But at the moment, what you have basically is a posturing. As far as Trinidad and Tobago and CARICOM, Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela is concerned, the relationships are well established. The relationships have been there since independence, pre-independence, and I don't expect that as it stands at the moment, that it is irreparable. Certainly, if things escalate, and when I say things escalating, I mean, for example, if it is that the U.S. would to invade Venezuela and we became a proxy to that invasion, then we would be declared an enemy of Venezuela. At the moment, we are not declared an enemy of Venezuela. At the moment, it's just posturing.
My question is, if worst comes to worst, and clearly we have seen where foreign intervention via the U.S., they would come in, the regime change will take place, but they will have to obviously go back to base. So let's treat with that possibility first before we come back to the reality. Let's treat with the possibility that indeed there is regime change, the U.S. go in there, shift the goalpost. How do we, being neighbors to Venezuela, 7 miles removed from the mainland, go forward and treat with it? Could there ever be any kind of healing, as it were, in the aftermath of that kind of unfortunate eventuality that you just mentioned?
Well, it certainly would take a long time to heal in those circumstances. And it would take a long time to heal based on what actually happens. Because, of course, there are many scenarios that can take place. There can be a situation where, as I think the U.S. is hoping, that the people of Venezuela would rise up against Maduro and they would overthrow him. There is a scenario where perhaps they would use some kind of CIA intervention and illegally take him out.
Extraction.
In whatever form. Whether it be to kill him, whether it be to remove him. All illegal, but have been done on many occasions. And if, again, that happens, then it becomes easier to transition. If it is that a sustained ground war takes place, where it lasts for months or perhaps years, then a lot of fallout will take place for us, for the region, which will then become a lot more difficult to repair. I mean, we see, for example, in places where that has happened, and I think Iraq is a perfect example. Even up to today, Iraq has not come back to normal. And the people of Iraq are still feeling the effects of that invasion. I mean, and when I say the people, I mean innocent people who would have normally gone about their lives. Now, permit me to speak to how we got here, right? Now, the Prime Minister won this election based on crime fighting as an initiative. And we all agree that we have a crime problem. We all agree that the crime problem is driven by drugs and, of course, the social programs that were mismanaged, that were influenced by gang leaders, etc. The posturing of the American president was that he was going to deal with drugs. And therefore, the Prime Minister jumped on that bandwagon of drugs. Clearly, in my view, and I've said so from the very beginning, it was never about drugs. And the way in which things escalated and have escalated, it shows clearly this is not about drugs. And why I say so is because if you're going to deal with crime and you're going to deal with drugs, there are well-established ways of dealing with that have been, there are examples across the globe, Portugal, Scotland, other parts of the world where they've dealt with their crime problem by dealing with institutions, by dealing with social services, by dealing with the causes of crime. And this is not what is happening now. So I support fully an initiative to deal with crime. I support an initiative to make Trinidad and Tobago safer, but this is not going to make Trinidad and Tobago safer in any form or fashion. Because one, it's not dealing with the drug trade, and two, it could draw us into a war with our neighbors. It has also strained relations with our CARICOM friends, and that doesn't do us well either. So anybody who is watching and anybody who has Trinidad and Tobago's interests first, I say, getting into a war as a proxy with the U.S. against Venezuela is not the right outcome for the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
You know, I'm watching today's Guardian, page 5, and the Justice Minister of Venezuela, Minister Cabello, says, quote, TNT betrayed, continues to betray the extraordinary relations, end quote, both countries have had for decades. He is accusing the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Sadly, he's saying that we are against Venezuela. And historically, he says, Trinidad and Tobago has had good relations, extraordinary relations. Many people have had constant trade, and we know of the family ties and the family connections. So obviously, very interesting times on chartered waters. We've seen that even some of the business momentum with the gas deal, all that is on the back burner at this point in time. What can be done immediately? You think our Prime Minister should reach out, there should be greater communication with Venezuela, with the public? What can be done to cool and to ease the temperature at this point in time, as of this moment?
Okay. Now, first of all, it was Venezuela who threw the first stone, and we must establish that.
I recall.
So they are not blameless in this. There should have been discussions at the very beginning, and there should be discussions now. That is the way you deal with it. With regards to the oil deal, the oil and gas deal, the Dragon deal in particular, Venezuela is not the stumbling block. And we must establish that the United States of America is the stumbling block. When the last regime entered negotiations with the Venezuelans for Dragon, that was a good thing. However, and I said it then, we should not have been putting all our eggs in one basket. We need to diversify Trinidad and Tobago. And up to now, we need to diversify Trinidad and Tobago. I just came from a weekend in Tobago. Tobago is such a fantastic place to develop for tourism, and we are not doing what we are supposed to be doing. But coming back to the gas deal, the stumbling block is the fact that the U.S., who are way distance away, decided to put sanctions on Venezuela and how they conduct their internal affairs. They then treat with the OFAC license as if they're giving gifts based on Venezuela's oil and gas, which again I think is highly inappropriate. So one, should the last regime have negotiated with Venezuela for Dragon? Yes. Should they have put all their eggs in one basket? Absolutely not. Who are the stumbling block for us moving forward? The United States of America, because they're the ones controlling the sanctions and giving the temporary OFAC license. However, this Dragon deal is not, was never going to come to fruition until probably next 3 or 4 years. So we couldn't depend on that for now in any event. And a lot could happen in the next 4 years, in the next 5 years, that could put this deal back on track, and therefore we could realize the benefit of it.
You know, we're dealing with the reality of the moment, and I've asked every mind the same question. I'm going to ask you the same momentarily, and I know that, you know, through your legal, diplomatic lens, you can give me some perspective. The U.S., they are indeed a superpower. They are the guardians, I would imagine, of this particular side of the world, and by extension, the wider world. Now, China probably the only country to rival them. Do we ultimately have a choice based on their posturing, based on what they want, based on their foreign policy and the proximity of Trinidad to Venezuela? We would have always been involved in this back and forth, as it were. We more or less in the middle of all of this, based on our proximity and our relations. Ultimately, did the Prime Minister have a choice? Because most people think what America wants, America gets. Your response to that?
The Prime Minister has a choice. And had it been me as Prime Minister at this time, I would not have engaged in that manner with the United States of America. And we have a precedent for allowing us to take a particular stance. The fact that we have declared this area a zone of peace is a well-established notion which you could rely on. The fact that we've had a foreign policy of non-intervention would have also allowed us to stand on that footing. So you come to, the US come to you, yes, we are friends. Yes, you are our partner. Yes, we trade with you significantly. But that does not give you the right to endanger our citizens. And if it is that we go down that road, we know it is going to endanger our citizens. So we need to stand firm and say, listen, if you are really interested in being our friends, if it is that you come to us with the notion of fighting drugs, then give us the tools and work with us to fight drugs. You don't need the whole militia to come to the region to fight drugs. You could work with our Coast Guard one-on-one, deploy some people over for the next couple of years so that you strengthen the patrol of the waters, to interdict, to arrest, to then go after the serious traders. And that is how you deal with that particular criminal activity, as opposed to the way in which they're doing it now.
Thank you for that, Mr. Nicholas. I want to ask you, do you think the government is doing a good job when it comes to communication, ventilating, and being able to explain to the public all what's taken place? I mean, obviously, they're saying that if there's nothing happening, there's nothing to report, but just your general sense of their communication strategy to the populace at this point in time.
I don't think they have a good communication strategy at this time. And that is what has caused a lot of the chaos and anxiety within the population. Now, I will tell you something. What happened on Friday wasn't, and I know, wasn't a CNC3 propaganda. And why I know that is because I was actually contacted from a news outlet, a reputable news outlet out of the United Kingdom that asked me about it, and it was their information, and I think they got their information from Reuters or one of them, that there was a planned strike for 3 o'clock on Friday. They actually gave me the time. And then they came back and they told me it was, the Pentagon stated that there is not going to be any strike. So there was a real sense around the world that the U.S. would have been striking Venezuela on Friday. And that is why you have so much information, so much rumors that came out on the day. And I suspect that is why the military, our army was put on alert. That is why our police would have been put on alert. And again, I don't believe that staying silent in these circumstances is the right thing to do. It is always better to calm the nation with as much truth as you can dispense. Of course, in situations of national security, you may not always be able to give all the information, but you need to give enough information so that your population isn't taken by surprise.
Really quick, as we look to wrap things up, I want to take it back to CARICOM, our neighbors, our biggest, I would say, well, outside of the U.S., our biggest market, our neighbors. The Prime Minister would have suggested that it's time for us to look at different markets. She would have made her position clear. She stands alone. And CARICOM and Trinidad and Tobago right now, it's a kind of very ticklish moment. Even some of my regional friends are calling me and asking, well, what's going on, Jason? What's going on with Trinidad? They're looking at us a particular way at this point in time. Is there room for, how could we repair the relation, and how soon? Is there that wiggling room at this point in time, or we'll have to wait for some time to pass?
Well, let me first say that at the moment, all our eggs is not necessarily in one basket. We trade with CARICOM, we trade with the US, we trade with Europe, we trade with China, we trade with India, we trade in South America, we trade all around the world, okay? And I have stated, again, from the very beginning, that we should not put our eggs in one basket. That does not mean you abandon your long-standing friends. And CARICOM is not just important to us because of trade. CARICOM is important to us because we are a voting bloc that had allowed me, whilst I was High Commissioner, to influence the Commonwealth and other Commonwealth nations to actually go up against the so-called superpowers in the Commonwealth. And we managed to get a lot of things done that otherwise would not have been done, that otherwise we would have been railroaded by the big three in the Commonwealth, which are the UK, Canada, and Australia. And because we were able to actually form a caucus with the rest of the nations, we were able to get a lot more done at the level of the Commonwealth. At the UN, again, CARICOM as a bloc allows us to put pressure on certain things. And that is the benefit of CARICOM, especially when you're a small nation. You depend on the numbers that would allow you to make an impact in the international organization. That is how you are able to lobby. Yeah. So CARICOM is important to us for regional security. Remember, the zone of peace has nothing to do with crime. It has everything to do with war, right? However, CARICOM institutions allow us to cooperate to fight crime because there's a sharing of information. I'm not saying that CARICOM is in any way perfect, but no family is perfect. No system is perfect. It is a work in progress, but a necessary work in progress.
Governor, I want to thank you so much. Great perspective this morning. Let's keep in touch. Let's monitor all the developments and hope that it's just posturing and it doesn't really get into that uncharted water, something that we have never experienced in our lifetime or even imagine we would have experienced in our lifetime.
Yeah, in fact, well, I have information from grandparents at the time of the Second World War, and it wasn't nice.
Yeah, 45, and that is like
a
whole eons ago.
You understand?
Yeah.
And we don't want to be in a situation where trade is affected, where the possibility of retaliation, the possibility of movement of people, all of those things come with war in close proximity to our shores.
Governor Nicholas, sincere thanks.
You're absolutely welcome.
Pleasure indeed. We're going to continue with the conversation and get the business perspective. Vivek Sharon joins me live. Vivek is actually coming in. Usually we do the Zoom link up, so when Vivek takes the time to be here live, you know it's a very important matter. I look forward. Business and war tensions. The chairman of the CRBC, Vivek Sharon, joins me next.
My man, Andre.
Good night, Anthony.
7 years with the company, and we couldn't do it without Antoine. Happy birthday, dear Alejandro. Happy birthday to you.
Who's Angelo?
We're like coworkers who don't forget your name.
I'm Angelo.
CG United. Good like that.
Welcome to Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
It's an choice, this is.
Fine.
You want some coffee?
Can I have a
Perfect, then.
That's exactly what we need.
Hey, who is this way?
Whatever you're here for, we're here for you. Stay smart at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Visit Tire Clinic Marketing, New Truck and OTR Tire Service Center at number 30 and 32 Montrose Main Road, Chabonas. Call today at 665-8973 or 672-3419. Alignment services available. Tire Clinic Marketing, Truck and OTR Service Center. A tire for every need.
Whoa. Please, what do you think about the PNM in opposition?
Now, our opposition is a force. So if the opposition opposes our next opposition, is it really our opposition? Do you think Barry will be able to give water to all? Okay, for that question, tune in to the rundown on CNC3. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. every Wednesday. Yeah. All right?
We're going.
Are we doing the people's work?
Yeah, where?
No, the people's work. It's done on CNC3 on the rundown. Oh, you thought it was here?
Yeah, but no, it's down a
Always a joy to have Vivek Sharan with me on the program, chairman of the CRBC, and he joins me today live. So Vivek, I want to thank you for the time, for the effort, for being here bright and early this morning to share with us through your business lens this moment of uncertainty and some of the implications, as it were, investor confidence, trade routes, flights back and forth. I mean, we are in some uncharted waters, Vivek, and I look forward to your counsel. And again, great to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Jason. Thank you so much for having me here this morning. It's a pleasure to be here in person. You know, I've been closely following what's been happening with regard to the Venezuela, America, Trinidad situation.
Yeah, we spoke about it from day one.
Right, and there's been, and it's unfortunate to me that there's a large growing sort of anti-American sentiment that's happening in the country that I'm seeing. And the difficulty or the problem with that is we have so much ties with America, so much ties when it comes to business, for example, that, you know, we must be mindful, and I hope the government is also mindful about how we continue with those diplomatic relations. So, for example, when we look at business, we look at food distributorship, we look at pharmaceuticals, we look at manufacturing, we look at export, right? All these sectors have considerable ties to the American economy, right? In one form or fashion. When I look at SMEs, many of the people that I know in some of the chambers within the Confederation of Regional Business Chambers, I'm proud to say many of them have started small startups in terms of, starting up small operations in America to earn their own US dollars, right? Which I find was amazing. I mean, if you listen to some of these stories. And then, you know, finally, we have the situation where many of us have American visas. And an American visa is not a right, it's a privilege, right? We have to go every so often and have it renewed. There are Trinidadians with green cards. There are Trinidadians who have citizenship, dual citizenship. There are Trinidadians who they have mixed citizenship. Their wife or the husband or the children have American passports. All these things we need to take into consideration when we take up our diplomatic stance between, you know, amidst all that is happening now. If we look at what happened last year, right? Last year, there was a disconnect between the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the UK government. And this disconnect happened over ostensibly when it was said that gang leaders were trying to get asylum in the UK, right? What was asked of the government apparently was a list of persons of interest or whatever. It was alleged that was refused. When that was refused, visa-free travel to the UK ended after decades of visa-free travel. Do you understand? And it's affected everybody, considering the fact that the Privy Council, the last court, as it were, in our legal system, is now going to cost people a lot more to travel to the UK. This government has said they're going to try and repair that, but it's illustrative of what can happen if diplomatically you find yourself on the wrong side of things, as it were, in terms of cooperation. So I see many people have been saying, you know, I mean, I want to acknowledge the uncertainty. I want to acknowledge fear and anxiety the Trinidad people are feeling. Right? But based on that, you know, there's been a call for this neutrality. And it appears that what neutrality is, what many people believe neutrality is simply the washing of hands and saying, you know, I choose no one. I have no part in this. I choose no one. I don't want to be involved. But the reality is, we can't. It's not as simple as putting your head in the sand and waiting for it all to pass, right? Neutrality carries with it an obligation. Neutrality is not an omission of an act, right? Neutrality means that we must act in a particular way. So we have the SOFA agreement, right? The SOFA agreement leads to, you know, some cooperation between American military and the Trinidad military. That has been in place for, you know, a while, but it was renewed in December 2025. I mean, January 2025. And neutrality, if we really want neutrality, then it means that when it comes to this current situation, we must neither aid nor abet, cooperate, consort, assist in any form or fashion any party, the Americans or the Venezuelans, into what is happening right now, right? Which means that in a real sense, we need to be able to tell the Americans, listen, our territorial waters, you can't pass your ships here. You can't dock your ships here. You can't put your aircraft here if it has anything to do with the conflict. You can't fly your aircraft over our airspace. And that's going to carry with it heavy or real diplomatic consequences if we were to do that, right? As a matter of fact, it may also be in contravention of the SOFA agreement. So where then do we stand in all of this?
And interesting you said that, because I was asking everyone about the choice and us being kind of almost between a rock and a hard place. And indeed, we are in business with the U.S. for many years, our largest trading partner, and we can speak in glowing terms to the amazing relations and the cross-fertilization for so many years. But I think many take issue with sometimes their foreign policy and their posturing sometimes of interference, and the fact that with our proximity to Venezuela and the issue now with Venezuela, the spill-off can indeed impact us in a major way, especially with business. And many were suggesting that even if a choice was to be made, make the choice on the back end as opposed to from the jump saying, kill them violently and we are with the U.S. against our neighbor.
But you see, there's this idea that this has happened all suddenly, but the reality is that the American posture, the American view on Venezuela hasn't really changed since 2014. In 2014, this really began with, you could say, the Obama administration.
And Chavez.
Right. When the Obama administration said, listen, we are putting an act in place and sanctions in place because of, and they accused, certain members of the Venezuelan government of human rights abuses. That continued through the Trump administration, the Biden administration, and presently up to now. When we keep looking at things singularly and not part of the whole. When this new government came in, the Trump government came into the second term, the first thing they did was they went into Panama and they said, listen, it is alleged that they are controlling Chinese interests here on the Panama Canal. We're going to negotiate with the government of Panama to remove those interests and put American interests or whatever, right, or Panamanian interests. And what we see is that what they're doing is that they are reinforcing, let's say, this zone of the Caribbean and South America into what they would consider, one that is more towards their military interests or something like that. And that mirrors what's happening in the rest of the world. We see the same thing with China, with Taiwan and that area. We see the same thing with India, Pakistan, China on the borders. We see the same thing down to Thailand, Burma. There's this idea globally of larger countries and asserting themselves within the area and saying, listen, we don't want the interference of other superpowers into this area. And that's what Venezuela sort of invited when they had Russian warships and Russian bombers dock and land in Caracas.
Let me ask you, Vivek, when you talk to fellow businessmen, businesswomen, what's the general sense as it pertains to investor confidence? What's the mood right now business-wise? Are people a bit apprehensive? Are they looking at the possibility of regime change and probably a favorable person there now to treat with the matters?
Well,
what's the general mood?
I think that's a great point, because a lot of the focus, Jason, has only been on the aspect of war and the aspect of a continued war between the Americans and the Maduro government. The reality is that even though there's been negotiations by the previous government for a very long time, 2016 up to just before elections, with the Maduro government, and they, ostensibly got agreements, 30-year license in the Dragon. Nothing can go forward with the sanction shield that the Americans have put in place. Nothing, right? Absolutely nothing. The sanction shield is going to remain in place unless Maduro regime leaves. Now, what complicates and also simplifies matters in a sense is that there was an election in Venezuela, correct? The election in Venezuela it was said that the Juan Guaido, Maria Machado opposition party won by as much as 70%, but that the Maduro regime stole the election. This was mirrored by, many of the South American countries supported the Guaido Machado party, right, in the fact that they won. This was Peru, Uruguay, Chile, Argentina, many of the South American countries, as well as globally. As a matter of fact, Maria Machado recently won the Nobel Peace Prize. She can't be a faker and win the Nobel Peace Prize. So there's also the sentiment that the Maduro government is not a sovereign government. Sovereign in the sense that or legitimate government based on the last election that was had, and that the actual winners of the election would have been Machado and Juan Guaido. She apparently is in the country as well too, and would be the incumbent part, will be the people that would assume government or power in Venezuela if it goes in that direction, right? And I think if that happens and the Americans remove the sanction shield, then one, Venezuela can start to rebuild itself back to its former glory. Two, it opens up all sorts of room for investment into energy in Venezuela and dealing with Venezuela directly, both in terms of CARICOM and Trinidad, right? And second, and thirdly, or most importantly, it gives more than 7 million people the choice to return back to their home country. And for anybody saying, this is an important point to me, for anybody saying Trinidad treating them badly, and Trinidad government treating them badly, Trinidad treating Venezuelan people, that's not true. You know why? Because of the 7 million people that left Venezuela, those that came to Trinidad have been treated well, and particularly by the private sector in Trinidad. The private sector hired them, whether they were legal or illegal or whatever it was. The private sector allowed them to earn an income to put food on the table. The private sector allowed them to earn income to put a roof over their heads. And many NGOs and religious bodies, namely Roman Catholic based, assisted them, because out of that 7 million and more people that fled Venezuela because of the current regime, right, more than 80% or 90% of them are Roman Catholics. And so when they came to Trinidad, right, you find many of the NGOs and things assisted them. So the actual Maduro government should be, in a sense, thankful to the Trinidad private sector, because we have treated their people really well.
And indeed, and what you mentioned there is fact. But Vivek, I want to probably flip it for you for a minute, because what you just mentioned is if there is indeed a smooth transition, if there is a long, ground offensive, as it were, and they push back, we could find ourselves now in a real monkey pants where more people will be coming across the border to, namely Guyana, who shares a border with Venezuela. Colombia will be impacted, and by extension, I'm sure Trinidad and Tobago will feel the brunt. Have you given that some consideration too, Vivek?
No, well, I mean, I've been following it closely, and the reality is that even now people are thinking about leaving Venezuela. 60 Minutes, which is a credible news source, they had people in Venezuela, and they were chatting with some of the Venezuelan people, and one of the braver women was saying, listen, if things don't change in my country, then I'm going to Madrid. She's not going to Madrid for vacation. She's thinking about going to Madrid to live. To live, yeah. Right? Which signifies more. So whether there's going to be an ongoing conflict, or whether there's not going to be an ongoing conflict, the reality is that the situation on the ground in Venezuela now is not conducive to even the Venezuelan citizens wanting to stay.
Vivek, in the seconds that remain, any closing remarks to the business interests looking on this morning?
Yeah, well, basically I'd like to address, generally, when it comes to the fear-mongering that is happening because of this current situation. The fear-mongering, the anti-American sentiment that seems to be growing, even that sentiment towards Venezuela and so on. The reality is that we are in the midst of what could possibly be changed. It's a pivotal moment in history in a sense. We have major American assets coming to the area. There are two choices going to happen, right? One is that all these American assets are simply going to sail away, and the Maduro government is going to remain in power, and the Maduro government is going to say, we have won, right? Or secondly, that there's going to be a change in the regime. The American government, as far as we know directly from the President of the United States, says he has no interest in a direct all-out war. One. Two, he's also said that the Maduro's days are numbered.
Yeah.
So what that means is that there are a lot of negotiations happening behind the scenes. No doubt many people are involved that we don't even know. One of the other things I'd like to say is that we continually jamming the government about communication and saying that the government needs to tell us what is happening with regard to this situation. But the reality is that when you monitor American news sources, they don't even seem to know. The only people who seem to know what is going to happen tomorrow or in the future would be the President of the United States, Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, and the generals on the ships, and that's basically it. I don't think anybody else has any direct knowledge or continued knowledge of what's going to happen.
Well, Vivek, I want to thank you for being here live.
Not at all, Jason. Always a pleasure.
And we'll continue the conversation for sure. Vivek Sharon touching base with us, chairman of the CRBC. As we make our way towards the 7 a.m. news update, we come back with your calls and some more impactful discussions inside hour number 2. See you soon.
Presenting the most modern pharmaceutical facility in the country, Food Basket Hyperfarm Pharmacy Food Basket Complex, Arima. We stock the widest range of health and beauty products, baby supplies, stationery, fragrances, and cosmetics, or organic, sugar, and gluten-free products catered to vegans and the health conscious. A wide assortment of dispensary medication and over-the-counter items at the most affordable prices. Make Hyperfarm Pharmacy your choice. Located on the compound of Food Basket Complex, Arima.
Step into ABC Doors and Windows, where quality meets variety. Discover premium wooden, steel panel, fiberglass, and steel security doors alongside aluminum, UPVC, and steel windows designed for strength and durability. At ABC, we're always a better choice, delivering products built to last and service you can rely on. Visit our showroom at 1 Chanka Trace, El Socorro South, or call 638-7184 to make your dream home a reality.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800 Trin or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800 Trin or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Before we get into the 7 a.m. news update, let's check in with our daily health tip. Enjoy.
The Daily Health Tip, brought to you by Omega XL, where health is wealth. Inflammation serves as your body's natural defense against threats. But when it lingers, it becomes chronic and can lead to major health issues, including type 2 diabetes. Chronic inflammation affects the body's ability to manage insulin, a hormone crucial for regulating blood sugar. Over time, this inflammation can cause insulin resistance, a key factor in the development of diabetes. Managing blood sugar levels becomes increasingly difficult as insulin resistance grows. This progression not only places a tremendous strain on the body's metabolic system, but also heightens the risk of severe complications such as kidney damage, heart disease, and nerve damage. To reduce the risk of inflammation-related diabetes, it is essential to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Diet plays a pivotal role. Foods low in processed sugars and high in fiber can help reduce blood sugar spikes and inflammation. Incorporating physical activity into your daily routine also helps to stabilize blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity. Furthermore, managing stress and getting adequate sleep each night are crucial in preventing chronic inflammation. Both excessive stress and lack of sleep can increase inflammation and disrupt blood sugar levels, creating a cycle that further impacts insulin resistance. By understanding the link between chronic inflammation and diabetes, adopting healthier eating habits, staying active, and managing stress, you can help prevent or manage diabetes more effectively. This proactive approach is vital for maintaining overall health and preventing further complications. This health tip was brought to you by Omega XL, Live long, stay strong. Celebrity Health Secrets with Giselle Laurent.
I have found that together with exercising, getting enough sleep, and a diet rich in omega-3s can definitely help you live a healthier and happier life. Omega XL provides pure, powerful, potent care.
The Daily Health Tip brought to you by Omega XL, where health is wealth.
At Bagwansing's, Port of Spain and Chaguanas, we are committed to providing quality products for all major building projects. Let's build together with rebars and beams, BRC coils and mats, RHS and angles, roofing sheets and purlins, lumber, plywood and MDF. Bagwansing's, building homes, building communities, building TNT for over 60 years. Bagwansing's, Port of Spain and Chaguanas, building value every day.
Good morning. I am Jen Sloven with headline news on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar is reaffirming Trinidad and Tobago's commitment to regional anti-drug operations led by the United States, following comments by Donald Trump that Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro's days are numbered. In a recent interview, Trump was asked if the U.S. was going to war with Venezuela as the presence of U.S. military assets continues to add anxiety in the Caribbean.
Are we going to war against Venezuela?
I doubt it. I don't think so, but they've been treating us very badly, not only on drugs. They've dumped hundreds of thousands of people into our country that we didn't want. People from prisons, they emptied their prisons into our country.
Responding to questions about President Trump's position, Persad-Bissessar said her government will continue to support the U.S. military drug interdiction exercises within the region. Persad-Bissessar also dismissed speculation and panic that erupted on Friday amid online rumors of possible military action affecting Trinidad and Tobago, accusing political opponents and social media actors of fueling unnecessary fear. She said there have been no military strikes within our territorial waters, and there have been no requests from the U.S. military to use our territory for any strikes against drug cartels inside of Venezuela or in international waters. Asked whether U.S. kinetic operations have affected illegal drug trafficking, Persad-Bissessar said there are clear signs as the prices of marijuana and cocaine have climbed. The Prime Minister reiterated that the government continues to monitor the situation closely and will keep the citizens informed of any credible threat. Meanwhile, Venezuelan opposition member Jose Brito has sided with the Maduro regime in condemning Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar for supporting U.S. military activity in the Caribbean. Recently in Parliament, Brito accused her of endorsing violence and ignoring Caribbean lives, calling TNT's alignment with Washington as disloyal. He claimed the country is being used as a base for hostile operations and warned that foreign intervention supporters will be rejected. Brito also referred to extremist opposition figures pushing for invasions as cockroaches. Days after the USS Gravely left Trinidad and Tobago shores, there are concerns that the U.S. military presence may not be far away as counter-drug trafficking operations appear to be far from over. On Sunday, Reuters International reported that 2 U.S. military vessels were somewhere in the waters immediately around Trinidad and Tobago as part of ongoing military operations against suspected drug runners. CNC3 News spoke with Celebia fishermen yesterday who said they received a warning from police not to venture too far out to sea. But according to some, the danger around the East Coast was real.
Also, the rumor they say a military boat had board a boat across outside the rig. It's about 29 miles offshore. And ramsack the boat and just jump back in the boat and gone.
He said he could not verify the incident, while another lifelong boater, Roger Maraj, said he was unaware of any such activities.
No, I don't really see anything because we are on the east side here now. You understand? We are on the east side, me see nothing like that.
Those were your 7 a.m. news headlines. We'll have another news update at 8 a.m. on the TBC Radio Network.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh-cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488, 701-6680, 728-6786, or visit our website to order.
PRW's Thanksgiving sale is now on this November. We're giving thanks to God and all of our local customers. Up to 75% discount on selected items. Join us for our Family Fun Day on the 4th of November at our Orangwes location. Come, have a fun day with us and enjoy refreshments, free giveaways, games, and massive discounted prices. Tell your family and friends. Call us today at 285-9779.
Growing your food business begins here at Southern Food Basket Wholesale Distribution Center. The turnaround is fast, from container to cold storage to pickup trucks. And when we deliver, product integrity is maintained with our highly respected vehicle-powered chilling systems. So come on down to Southern Food Basket Wholesale Distribution Center, where a whole new experience awaits.
Feeling drained, run down, or just not at your best? Your body might be missing key nutrients it needs to fight back. This powerful blend delivers high-dose vitamin C for immune defense, vitamin B6 and B12 for energy and brain support, and essential minerals like magnesium, zinc, and potassium to help your body recharge and recover. Whether you're fighting stress, supporting immunity, or bouncing back from a workout, this formula has your back. Fuel your cells, boost your immunity, feel the difference.
Welcome back. Before we get into our open forum inside this, our second hour for today, Tuesday, the 4th of November, The Queen of Soca, starring Terry Lyons. The final showing at Movietown is happening tomorrow from 8 p.m. That's Wednesday the 5th. The Minister of Culture will be there. The NCC CEO will be there. A couple of all the soca stars and influencers. It's going to be like the star-studded night. So for those looking to support local, to check out this movie, it's been years in the making, and Terry was on with me last week to give some information. We want to indeed implore you to head on down. I'll make some time to go see it myself tomorrow. It is from 8 p.m. at Movietown. Terry Lyons, the Queen of Soca, amazing, amazing production. Russell Wilkinson, Penelope Spencer, a host of local talent. When dreams feel impossible, she's going to tell the story of trying to break into the market and become the queen of soca. Lots of different emotions there, and there's some romance inside, there's some comedy, there's lots going on. So it's a great production, and we give Terry that support, and of course we go on down tomorrow. Wednesday the 5th, Movietown from 8 p.m. Let's head to the lines. Open up, give you a chance to get in. 624-8721, 627-8658. We say good morning, you're live. Shogunas, welcome.
Pleasant good morning, Jason.
Pleasant morning, Shogunas. Go right ahead, man.
All right, Jason, here's what. First of all, I want to touch on this, right? That by Venezuela considering the Prime Minister of this country, persona non grata, please, that is like telling, first and foremost, that is like telling a tourist who comes into this country for safety reasons that he's banned from Lavantil, right? So that does nothing to our Prime Minister. Understand what I'm saying? That does nothing, right? And please, right, for God's sake, somebody give the opposition leader a glass of water because she operating real thirsty, right? What I would like to touch on is this whole situation in CARICOM here with respect to Guyana and Trinidad intervening in the situation where Venezuela is trying to take something from Guyana. So here it is, we have three countries, right? Barbados, Jamaica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who have all spoken out, and they said that they are neutral, so therefore indirectly they are willing to sit idly by, right? They're not saying it, but actions speak louder than words. They are willing to stand idly by and see that Venezuela pursue this action against Guyana to try and take something from them. And you know, and I know, if we look at it realistically, in a couple of years from now, before the next general election, Guyana is going to be producing billions of dollars in oil. Not billions of dollars in oil. So by Venezuela trying to take this from them and these countries standing idly by, what does it say about the strength of our West Indies brothers Guyana? What does it say about the support? Understand what I'm saying? So here it is now, a situation as it arose where Jamaica is in a lot of problems. Who have to help them? Who helping them? Tell me something, Jason. Is Venezuela helping them? Understand what I'm saying? Right?
Honestly,
so you see, that's what I was
honestly,
saying.
I don't know, but I think Venezuela did send some stuff. But I mean, we all pitching in, honestly. We all pitching in to help Jamaica. But I understand what you're saying. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Right, so what I'm saying basically, right, what we need to look at, right, when I made a statement a few weeks ago, and you probably take it out of context when I say enemies. If it is that people are coming into our country, not all, because there are a lot of them very industrial, they're setting up business, they're being very law-abiding and everything like that, right? But what I'm saying is that if it is that certain people coming into our countries, right, and they're partaking in home invasions, they're partaking in crime, the women running prostitution below, and we all know that, right? And they're talking all this talk about human trafficking when they know Cocopelli, right? All these places like Limousine and El Dorado, Copacabana and Dundonald.
I find you know them real good. But let me ask you though, who's facilitating the Venezuelans? You see, you have to understand, right? If myself, right, if both of us, right, we decide we go in Switzerland in the morning and we go there and realize this is a place where there's a particular order and a structure, we assimilate, we fall in line. But we have had a well-oiled crime machine in this country long before the Venezuelans arrived. So for those with crime in their DNA, or if they come from that in Venezuela, they'll come to Trinidad and say, boy, fertile ground, we could run the route here. So we can't, I don't want us to kind of keep putting some of what's happening on them, because we, as Trinbagonians, we have had that we've kind of had that industry going for quite a while, you know, Shogunas.
But Jason, in answering your question, what I would tell you, right, that's not no green light for them to do the wrong thing also. Listen to what I'm saying, right? If they come down here, right, that is like saying that we put in guns in other people's hands. We're not putting no guns in nobody. So you don't have the ability to think for yourself. If it is you go over to our country and you seeing that certain things are the way how they are, does that justify your action for partaking in the wrong thing?
No, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't. But I don't want us to always cast blame on them, you know?
That by itself answers your question, Jason. Right? So by them coming over here and they're seeing crime taking place and they say, well, it's a free fall. No. That is playing smart with foolishness, Jason.
Well, let's take a pen for now. We'll probably continue tomorrow. I want to bring Tabaki in the discussion. I always enjoy listening. Me and Shogunas, we could talk all day, you know? Because, you know, that to me is what conversation is about. Sometimes you have different opinions, but you end up, you know, you go back and forth and you learn in the process. So, Shogunas, thanks as always for chiming in. Let's head to Tabakit. I didn't know South Boy, Tabakit.
Pleasant morning to you, Mr. Jason Williams.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
I want to take off my political cap this morning to make a statement. I wish if this could come to an end. And where I will take it in regards to Venezuela, Trinidad, and America. And the big pertinent question here, whether or not if the spiritual leaders is really playing their part, even they act in their role. Because long ago, you realize spiritual leader could have talked to leaders. And that's the billion-dollar question this morning, Mr. Williams. Whether or not if the spiritual leaders, if politicians have any respect left for spiritual leaders. And, you know, you're asking yourself, where the voices of spiritual leaders in this world? You understand where I'm going this morning? And that's why I told you I want to take off my political cap to be at a place to say, where is the spiritual leaders? Are they speaking to leaders throughout the entire world? Are they talking? And I'm talking from a place with deep concern. I wish if it could go away. Because you wake up every morning, every second, you turn on to social media, this thing in your face. And I think there's where I really wanted to be this morning. You know, to talk from your heart, take off the political cap and say, you know what, this thing should come to an end. What's your perspective, Mr. Journalist?
Well, I think you're spot on there, Tabakit. Now, I've heard commentary from the Archbishop of Port of Spain, Archbishop Gordon. We have heard from some of the other major faiths. People are on the pulpit and in the temple and the mosque speaking to the scenario. Are they speaking to leadership? I have no idea. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. But I've heard some commentary from some of our spiritual leaders. And thanks for that reminder, Tabakit, in this most uncertain time. Let's head now to Diego Martin, West Side. Good morning.
Morning, JW.
Hey, Diego, long time. Go ahead.
Yes, long time. Oh, God, Mr. Bitter, Mr. Shobonas, they really try to baffle us with BS. Oh, my God. Listen, man, this is unbelievable every morning. Listen, our Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, is putting our country in clear and present danger. That is the reality we face in. Clear and present danger by her utterances. She needs to pat down. We just can't go on this way, as explainer sang. We just can't go on this way. And JW, I want to bring something to the forefront. This is the second month public servants got their pay late, their salary late. Government retirees got their money on the 31st of August. And Minister Tanku keep making excuses. Last month it was machine breakdown. This month is the ministry's changed. That is why that problem. JW, the ministry I work with, the name ain't changed. The name was changed before I retired. So I don't know what next excuse he come in with next month. But please, Mr. Minister, do better than that and stop the lies. Have a blessed morning.
Ms. Digger Martin, let me ask you though, before you go.
Yes,
before you
JW.
go. I mean, in all fairness, I have found that the Prime Minister's tone, it's not as sharp as when this debacle started some months ago. I'm seeing a different kind of tone. Now, obviously, you're hearing other ministers speaking out of turn, but I find personally, I've seen there's been, I don't know if there's advice coming our way, but I've seen there's almost cooling of the temperature.
Yeah, the advisors need to do good, really need to speak with her and do, as you say, her ministers, because it has three of them. They could make her go back to the polls. Have a good morning.
All the best, Diego Martin. Thanks for touching base. Let's head to Santa Cruz. Mr. Santa Cruz, good morning.
Good morning, Jay. How are you going this morning?
Good to hear from you, Santa Cruz. Really good. Welcome.
No, I want to zero in on the fiasco that take place with respect to these calling out the army and the police and them. And I listened to Tabakit, and I listened to Roger Alexander, which is the Homeland Security. And his attitude, I think he needs to take some training in protocol and diplomacy in terms of how you deal with issues. Because what's happening, if you are the Minister of Homeland Security, you're supposed to give people assurances that nothing is really wrong, whatever. And what had happened is that he talk about people with panic buying and different things like that. But if it is that you call out the might of the military in Trinidad and Tobago, which is about 5,000 soldiers, you call out all the police officers, including the Special Reserve police officers, including the people who are on vacation leave, you call them out. What it is you expect an uninformed country going to do? They will say something is wrong and they will start to buy things and at least keep it because they have absolutely no information. You also have a situation when they ask the head of the national security, the head of the Security Council, which is the Prime Minister, what's happening? She says she and all doesn't know. You expect the population to know. If she doesn't know, I believe this government within the last 6 months has traumatized this country to such an extent. I'm sure a number of people will end up in hospital. Jason, I'm going to say this. What will happen to this country is that Donald Trump, Mr. Shift Your Tongue every Monday morning, going to leave these waters maybe in the 2 weeks' time, go back to America with his mighty army, and then you hear he will be telling the American people that I talked to Maduro and come to think about it, Maduro is a very good man. Just like what he did with the North Korean when he called him Rocket Man, and then not too long after he said, come to think about it, he's a very good person. And you see with China now how we withdraw all the different tariffs is a clear indication that Donald Trump is a flip-flop, and he will leave Trinidad and Tobago and the Prime Minister in the deep blue sea with no branches, no ship, no nothing to hold. He will leave them all alone by himself, and he's going to hug up Maduro at the end of the day. Remember, Mr. Santa Cruz says so. Thank you, Jason. Have a pleasant day.
Well, all the best, Santa Cruz, and if Donald Trump and Maduro hug up, I mean, I think I'll be happy to see that, to be quite honest, because I know it will bring an end to all this uncertainty and this impending war. Because, I mean, that's the talk, eh? All down to the babes and the sucklings, the little children, talking about people asking the parents about is Mommy, Daddy, what? Like war, they want to know if war coming. We don't know about our lives. So, Santa Cruz, if that's a prediction, well, let's see what pans out. And we'd love for that to take place, to be quite honest. Up next, Abeo Jackson, advocate, joins me to bring that call for peace, of vigil for peace, Sunday the 9th of November, this Sunday at Woodford Square. Full details from Abeo after the break.
Step into the Christmas season at Tile Depot. 12 by 12 tiles, $750. 17 by 17, $975. 18 by 18, $995. 20 by 20, $15.95. And 22 by 22, only $20. Visit Tile Depot Limited, Bagney Trace Chase Village. Call 234-4402.
PRW's Thanksgiving sale is now on this November. We're giving thanks to God and all of our local customers. Up to 75% discount on selected items. Join us for our family fun day on the 4th of November at or around West location. Come, have a fun day with us and enjoy refreshments, free giveaways, games, and massive discounted prices. Tell your family and friends. Call us today at 285-9779.
Pain. So like I have no pain since using Omega XL.
For those who try Omega XL and they say it didn't work, try it again.
Remember, you deserve the best. Choose Omega XL.
Make home yours every day with Courts. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, ooh, oh, oh. Get value for your money. Ooh, oh, oh. Courts have the best quality. Home is what you make it. Best prices and good credit. Oh. Courts have it all.
Courts has what you need to make home yours. You can get it all with easy payment plans using Courts Ready Finance. Courts, make home yours.
Food Basket. Food Basket, nation's #1 supermarket. Bakery, restaurant, meat market, fresh produce and everything fantastic. For everyday low price, things real nice. Come in once, but to come back twice. Wholesale retail, everything for you. A remush, a water, shop, fair, go view. Food Basket, the nation's #1 supermarket. Bakery, restaurant, meat market, fresh produce and everything fantastic. Food Basket, hypermarket, Arima, where shopping is a pleasure and the price is right.
Well, we could safely say our next guest is one who not only talks the talk, she walks the walk. We saw recently right by the Queen's Park Savannah alongside, well, I saw some support from the likes of David Abdullah and others. She had a more or less a kind of one-woman stance there, and now, of course, joining up with other organizations, they're going to do a bigger push. That call for peace, a vigil for peace. It's happening on Sunday, 9th November at Woodford Square. We welcome Abeo Jackson on the Zoom line. Abeo, good morning to you.
Greetings, Jason. How you doing?
All is well. I was looking at you a couple of weeks ago, right there by the Savannah, obliquely opposite the embassy. You know, you're making that call. I recognize that was probably one of your first major engagements based on this particular development. How was that? Let's treat with that first, you know, in terms of what motivated you to just take that particular serious stance in a time, in this moment of uncertainty.
I think it is a matter of feeling the need to let a voice be heard. There were a lot of people talking in silos. Everybody's having their private conversations, etc. And I remember, I think it was a couple of days before scrolling on the interwebs, the various social media platforms. And yes, there were quite a few Trinbagonian voices that were saying they were not in agreement with what was happening. They had serious concerns. And our brothers and sisters from the other Caribbean islands going, okay, we hear you, but where are you all? Why are you all not in the streets? Why haven't we seen a public outcry saying that you are not in agreement with what your current sitting regime is doing, your current sitting government is doing, your prime minister is doing? We hear you, we see you on social media, but we're not seeing you outside. And I that really spoke to me in a lot of ways. This is not the first time I've done something that might be considered maybe unpopular, maybe some people might see it as insignificant, maybe even ill-advised. No,
it's not insignificant at all. I think it is very brave. You know, as I said in my opening, you know, you don't only talk the talk, but you walk the walk. But in terms of this scenario for Sunday, we were in a state of emergency. I just want to ask you, do you need any permission, any special granting of any green light?
It's interesting that you would ask that, because according to, let me make sure I quote the correct section, Section 109(1) of the Summary Offences Act, Chapter 1102, all you are required to do is notify of a public meeting, in this case the Vigil for Peace, at least 48 hours before the event is supposed to occur. We don't necessarily need a license because of the fact that it's not a march. It is a public gathering, and the notification is required because we are going to have public speakers. So the needful has been done.
Excellent.
And we would hope that it can proceed without hiccup.
Yeah, and that to me, that's the most important thing for me, because I don't want any kind of incident to be. I know that the intention is a good one. Your heart is in a great place. I mean, do you feel, because we mentioned earlier, some people might look at it as insignificant. I don't think it is. Do you feel at all nervous going into these engagements? Is there any concern about, let's say, probably you being put on some list in terms of like your visa? I mean, you know, we as Trinbagonians, we see this visa, the U.S. visa, as the holy grail. This is something very important to all of us. What's your undertaking with all of that?
And this is where I continue to be a bit of an anomaly. Two things. One, I'm not necessarily nervous because of the fact that I'm standing with community. One of the first things that I did when I made this decision 2 weeks ago, 2 Fridays ago, or 3 Fridays ago, actually, was because of the fact that I feel as though decades from now, when my child looks at me and says, what did you do? What did you say? How did you make a difference in that time? I want to be able to look at her honestly and say, I tried. This is what I did. And at that point in time, one of the first people I would have reached out to was Brother David. Because I knew that the MSJ actually had gone out before on another bit of action that was in tangent with this kind of action. So I reached out to him to find out, no, I'm not a member of the MSJ. I'm not a member of I'm not affiliated to partisan politics. But he was one of the people who said, don't go alone this time around. You might have gone alone previously during the Black Lives Matter, the George Floyd, don't go alone this time. And then I reached out to Auntie Zakia Uzoma Wadada, who is the head of the Emancipation Support Committee. And she said that the same Jumbie that was interfering with me was interfering with her, and she was also moved to go. And that is how the two of them, along with others, came to stand with me that Friday. So I'm not nervous, because those are actually the two people alongside whom I'm helping to organize this and pull this together. That's the first thing. The second thing is, again, I'm a bit of an anomaly. I studied in the U.S. My first degree, I studied in the U.S. under a student visa, and I have not had a U.S. visa since.
Serious. Well, again, you know, your intentions to go there, that will be personal, and I guess, you know, we do have to discuss that on the program. But as it pertains to Sunday, who are some of the other stakeholders, the other organizations who will join you? Walk me through what time we need to be there, and what needs to be done for this call for peace.
It's happening between 5 and 7 p.m. So I would tell people, come out a little bit earlier than 5, set up yourself. Of course, this is a vigil for peace. So as a result, we are coming there under the order of peaceful vibes. Literally bring your vibes, maybe a placard or two, a old mass. You know, Trinidad and Tobago, we're very much rooted in our traditions of old mass, etc. Old mass as a means of commentary. That could also be a vibes and an order in terms of your placard, your old mass. We are also asking that at some point in the evening, instead of using open flames, we use our phones to light, you know, lights for peace at some point in time during the evening. There'll be a couple artists performing and sharing, a couple people bringing messages as well. And we also want to say thank you to the folks who have come on board thus far, and we hope that others will come on board before then. We have Concerned Muslims of Trinidad and Tobago, the Emancipation Support Committee, Fishermen and Friends of the Sea, Movement for Social Justice, Network of NGOs for the Advancement of Women, Trinidad and Tobago Scrap Iron Dealers Association, Trinbago for Palestine, who I'll come back to in a short, the Warao community of San Fernando. We also have All Mansions of Rastafari and the Ifa Orisha Council of Trinidad and Tobago. We are supposed to also have representatives from the IRO to bring words of prayer from representing all the various faiths of which we all belong in Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to go back to the Trinbago for Palestine group. Very, very powerful movement that's happening on social media. And they have really taken up this cause. And they are also collaborating on another movement that is operating in tandem with this, which is a mass digital mobilization. And that is actually happening as well in collaboration with the Black Alliance for Peace. And this mass digital mobilization has to do with a call for action to post a video or statement on your feed calling for peace and speaking against the militarization of the Caribbean. So we want all those things as we prep for Sunday to also be happening at the same time.
Wow, indeed. And, you know, imagine from just that engagement a couple of weeks ago to this mobilization, and I know many will come out to lend their voice for this vigil for peace. At what point you recognize it got really serious? Was there a particular turning point? Because obviously this has been going on for quite a while. We have been looking at the rhetoric. We all work in media and we monitor the news. And there was a particular moment, at least for me, I think when the Gerald Ford started to make its way from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean seas, that's when I recognized, okay, this seems to be kind of escalating. Obviously, at this point, as of now, it's still just a war of words. But at what point for you, you recognize, okay, it's time to really get involved and take some action?
This actually became extremely concerning for me when we witnessed, not just witnessed, but our government co-signed extrajudicial killings on the waters. Thus far, 61 people approximately have been killed in international waters. Some of them, you could call it our own waters, 2 of which are Trinidad and Tobago citizens, although it's trying to be framed as though we are unsure as to whether they would have lost their lives on the waters. And the fact that this has happened with the co-signature, this was happening with the co-signature of our own government was really concerning to me. It was not much of a reach because we also have an issue with extrajudicial killings in Trinidad and Tobago that we've become so desensitized to that we have framed this issue of crime and criminality as an excuse for people to not be given due process. We are also framing a domestic issue of crime and criminality as something to be dealt with in open waters, something to allow implement of empire to helicopter into our space and treat with it as judge, jury, and executioner when we are all sovereign nations in this space. And when this zone of peace is not just a slogan, it was something that was actually enshrined in the foundations of how we built CARICOM when we signed the Treaty of Chagaramas back in 1979. This is not conjecture. This is not just something that we've made up. This is something that is enshrined in how the Caribbean is built. And it is also something that our sitting Prime Minister attached her signature to when it was re-ratified back in 2014, I want to say, in Cuba.
Yeah.
So for me, the minute we started killing people in open water without anybody being held accountable, without, and international bodies have since come out and said that the United States, as of right now, is in breach of international law. These are war crimes. And to think that we would hitch our wagon to the proximity of empire, the proximity of power, feeling as though we are somehow, protected by our affiliation with the United States is truly concerning to me. It is recolonization at its very best and most dangerous.
Well, Abeo, as always, a sincere thanks. Where can we go online to get more details?
You can follow, you could come to my social media page. You can go to Brother David Abdullah's page. The Emancipation Support Committee page is also posting. The Trinbago for Palestine page is also an excellent page to follow. All of the information will be posted on all of those various social media platforms.
Vigil for Peace this Sunday, Woodford Square. Abeo, all the best, and keep us posted, and, continue walking the walk. Yes?
Many thanks.
All the best. Abeo Jackson there, touching base, getting everyone ready for this Sunday. Up next, that's right, we stand by. It is the Bubbles for Life. Full details. My good friend, the Dumas, Robert Dumas in the building, chairman of the TNT Cancer Society. Yes, Robs.
Growing your food business begins here at Southern Food Basket Wholesale Distribution Center. The turnaround is fast, from container to cold storage to pickup trucks. And when we deliver, product integrity is maintained with our highly respected vehicle-powered chilling systems. So come on down to Southern Food Basket Wholesale Distribution Center, where a whole new experience awaits.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh-cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488, 701-6680, 728-6786, or visit our website to order.
Good day, Trinidad and Tobago. A safer nation begins with you standing up, speaking out, and doing your part. As your Commissioner of Police, I am prepared to do my part. Are you prepared to do your part? Get on board. Are you on board?
I am Bishop Ezekiel Clark, President of the Couva Police Station Community Council, and I am proud to say that I am on board with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in their fight against crime in Trinidad and Tobago.
I am Panis Dean Gulston. And I am Panis Johan Chakri. And crime prevention is everybody's business.
Hi, I am Sajina Kadir, attorney at law and team lead for the attorneys for the TTPS Community Justice Clinic. We support the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in the fight against crime.
Crime prevention is everybody's business. I am Shiraz Khan. I am a farmer. I support the TTPS in the fight against crime.
My name is Baldap Maraj, President of the Chaguanas Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Crime fighting is everybody's business.
We are all on board.
With me, not no Zoom business, and Robbie took some time, came out here early, and of course under your
TRW's Thanksgiving sale is now on this November. We're giving thanks to God and all of our local customers. Up to 75% discount on selected items. Join us for our Family Fun Day on the 4th of November at our Orangwes location. Come, have a fun day with us and enjoy refreshments, free giveaways, games, and massive discounted prices. Tell your family and friends. Call us today at 285-9779.
Folks, take a look at all these medical conditions. What does it have in common? This, ITIS. But what does ITIS really mean?
The suffix itis denotes inflammation of a specified organ or tissue.
ITIS really means inflammation. How do we combat chronic inflammation? Through lifestyle changes. Then, and only then, make sure you're getting enough omega-3 fatty acids.
Always consult a qualified medical professional before starting any supplements.
So glad to be back. Just had a little technical issue, but it's all sorted out, and we are cooking with gas. We are going to proceed because the Bubbles for Life, it's around the corner, and to share all the intimate details, the chairman of the TNT Cancer Society, my great friend for many decades, colleague, compadre, Robert Dumas. Robs, we bring you out early, man.
Early. And I must say, it's my first time in this seat, you know.
Yes.
In the past, I've sat in that chair a couple of times.
Yes.
But, yes, coming out early, but it's a pleasure to be here.
I want to, before we get to Bubbles for Life, find out about your particular role, your function, how you've taken to this particular, just very important, role. And I know it's something very close to you based on your own personal experience within your family and that, understanding of cancer and the impact of it. So with this chairman role, Robert, walk me through it. What does it entail, and how do you feel about this particular position?
Well, I took on the role. I've been on the board of directors for about 6 or 7 years, even through the pandemic. And of course, I've been impacted by a couple of my aunts. My father passed of cancer. It's a really dreaded lifestyle disease, and we're seeing it on the rise, and that's of course through detection and data. And for me, it was, what can I do in that legacy of service to do some philanthropic work that means something? And when you go through that with your own father, all through those years, what it does, it really has an impact on you. The hours, the days next to him in hospital beds. I did a marathon, as you know, called Doing It for Dad, to raise funds to take him through that process. So I always told myself, how can I really give back? And that's why, when I was asked to be on the board, I was really delighted and proud to be part of it. And then just about 1.5 years ago, I was asked to go up for the election to be chairman. And I was glad that, that I got that service. I mean, it's something that really drives me. Many, many sleepless nights, because there's always something to do. At the moment, we're looking for a new home, a permanent home. We're working with the government to do that, and corporate Trinidad and Tobago. So those are the types of things that drive me to say, to really give back to Trinidad and Tobago. And, a lot of those faces that I would have seen even then with my dad, we've probably lost, sadly, through persons waiting too late.
Would you say the Bubbles for Life is one of, or if not the biggest engagement under the umbrella of the Cancer Society?
Absolutely. It's our flagship fundraiser, something that we're very, very proud of, created and thought of, conceptualized by IDETIC, our partners, and, sort of a lot, for all intents and purposes, the backbone. So Bubbles for Life, if I could talk a bit about it, that's why we're here. It's not a competition. That's the first thing we want people to know. It's a fun engagement. It's a run, walk, roll, do whatever you want. There are bubbles at various stations, hence Bubbles for Life, that depict certain the colors of certain cancers. We even have a flagman. That's there to lead things off, and it really is an impressive show. About 5,000 people normally turn up at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy, and it's all for a cause. It's to remember what it's for. It's in the fight against cancer and to promote awareness, early detection, and just general education.
How does one register, Robert? Because I know you have to get your T-shirt, and I know it's Lara Stadium, so I want to get into some of the intimate details regarding registration and what time to get there, because I know there's so much pre-activity before the actual walk or run or roll, as you say.
And some roll, I mean, it depends, because every year we get a mix of weather. Between the sun comes out, then you get a bit of rain, and then the sun comes out again. So registration, you can email us. I'm assuming we put it at the bottom of the screen, projects@cancer.tt, or you can call 280-3353. That's 280-3353 to register. It begins between 3 and starts at 3 o'clock and ends at starts at 3 o'clock, ends at 6. There's obviously you're going to have a warm up. There's some activities before. There's some of the tents to visit. There's always giveaways in those environments. And remember, it is down to Ruba. So those of you who visit CPL, etc., know that there's traffic at times, and we expect over 5,000 persons. So you want to come a bit earlier to ensure that you get there, enjoy the moment. And the good thing, as you mentioned about the T-shirt, is that gone are the days where the T-shirt can't be reused. So what you can do is, there are colors, of course, for the various types of cancers, and you can use those throughout the year to continue your fitness drive, to continue wanting to be living a healthier lifestyle.
Robert, what I recognize about the Bubbles for Life, when I attended, there was a major focus and a nice spotlight on the survivors. Walk me through the importance of survivors being there, and what kind of engagement do the survivors get with, let's say, the audience in attendance?
Absolutely. The survivor network is very important. Equally, the volunteer network, because both the survivors and the volunteer network drives us. I mean, the Cancer Society is an NGO, remember that. So we're very dependent on our government subvention, corporate partnerships, any sort of givings from the public of Trinidad and Tobago. And if I may just to box it off, just to say how people can give to the Cancer Society. Of course, we have things like the Tree of Life, which is a handcrafted bronze sculpture, which is really a memorial. So persons who have, fighting cancer, persons we've lost to cancer, it's a way to have a memorial towards them. So that, there are various ranges of pricing to get your leaf, which is a very pretty thing to see when you enter the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society. There's the donation of medical equipment, funds, of course, but to come back to it, there's also the volunteer network, which is a key thing for things like Bubbles for Life, things like Global Relay for Life, things that we have. So the survivor network are persons that really get it. They're fighting cancer, or they've fought cancer, they've survived cancer, they understand the need for regular screening, early detection, and the empathy is certainly there to walk with others who are not just fighting cancer, but those who are concerned about getting cancer or may think that they have cancer. I myself, Jay, have had a couple scares and have had to walk the walk. I understand what it's like to be very concerned. But the way to combat that, of course, is early detection, is awareness, is educating yourself, because without that, you certainly can't be treated. The Cancer Society doesn't treat anything particularly as yet. Maybe in the future it will be something that we may take on. But the Survivor Network certainly assists with that drive, that messaging, and even at Bubbles for Life, etc. The number of people who can look at them and get encouraged by seeing that they have survived. It's possible. They're participating. They're very active, and they're very pleasant people.
No, very much so. And I remember, they were there positioned by the tent, and I saw the interaction with the audience, and I said,
very lively.
Very lively. what I recognize too, and it's something I thoroughly enjoyed when I went, the mix of the age is from the very young to the not so young, you know, from the juniors to the seniors, and everyone interacting. And as you rightfully said, it's not a race. Yes, I saw some people running and stuff and doing the job. But
everybody, some people, you can't help that. People there with their garment and their timing it. I mean, it's still part of their fun.
Yes,
you know.
Yes. Is the same route to the side and to the back? Route. You make the lap and you come back.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Fantastic.
And again, you know, the enjoyment is the bubbles. You don't have to go in the bubbles. I mean, it's exciting. Even if you say, listen, I don't want to get wet on the top. Get your shoes wet. Participate in the event, and it's a cool down as well. But again, the messaging really is it's not a competition. It's participation in the awareness and what we're trying to do in this fight against cancer.
Let's get the information up. Let's put the all the intimate details up on the screen one more time. So Robert, just walk us through it at start time, where we can register one more time, and I know the date. Save the date, folks.
Save the date. Saturday. This Saturday.
That's right.
This Saturday, the 15th of November. It's at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy. It's between 3 and 6 o'clock. Registration, it's $130 for...
Next Saturday, Robbie. I think it's this Saturday. So it's next Saturday.
Yes, sorry.
Next Saturday.
Saturday the 15th. Yeah, yes. We need to be clear. You know, when you wear so many hats, you know, right now I'm trying to focus that I'm actually here on the set of the Morning Brew.
Yeah, so next Saturday.
Saturday the 15th of November, like 3 to 6.
Yeah.
Adults are $130. Children are $110.
Excellent.
And it's projects@cancer.tt, or you can call 280-3353, I believe is the number.
Yeah, who's still here? Well, I know you're going to walk, obviously, but you're on stage?
Boat. Run. I'm going to take a jog because I need to go and come back in time, but I'm always up on the stage.
Do you get any medals and stuff for the bubbles?
No, again, it's not a competition. One year, maybe, you know, we're in the 8th installation in partnership with Republic Bank, so maybe year 10 as a sort of an anniversary, we may have something that's more of a memorial, something as a memory, as opposed to a participation medal. But it's fun to be part of. I encourage all persons to come out and be part of it. And even if you can't turn up, you know, still register to fund the cause.
And the T-shirt is a collector's item. I've seen people, you know, beyond the race in the Bubbles for Life tees, you know, going to the grocery or just moving around. So, Robert, again, sincere thanks. I mean, your team are looking too bad, you know. We could talk football all morning.
I was wondering when the football will come. You're my brother. I can't fault you for Arsenal, but you know, it's Manchester United till I did.
No, that's your team. That's your team. And I mean, you know, we always have our banter. But I mean, we're not looking too bad at all. Let's see how things pan out in the months ahead.
And I'm looking to see you Saturday the 15th. Yes.
Of course, Robbie. Full support as always. I'll be there. Bubbles for Life. I think I was out the country last time around, but indeed I'll make my way down. Myself, Robbie, we hosted the last time 2 years ago. Dr. LeBlanc, it was real nice. It was real fun. I enjoyed myself, you know. I had a real good time.
If I may, with a final message, which is my camera.
Right there.
This one here. Just to say that cancer affects us all, but together, through awareness, early detection, and community support, we can indeed save lives and bring hope to families across Trinidad and Tobago.
Well said. Robert Dumas touching base with us, chairman of the TNT Cancer Society. Let's take that pause and we come back with some housekeeping before we officially pull the curtains at 8 a.m. See you soon.
Make home yours every day with Courts. Oh yeah. Get value for your money. Courts have the best quality. Home is what you make it. Best prices and good credit. Courts have it all.
Courts has what you need to make home yours. You can get it all with easy payment plans using Courts Ready Finance. Courts, make home yours.
In the ever-changing media landscape, we at Guardian Media strive always to put you, our viewers and readers first.
We strive to uphold the time-honored tenets of responsible journalism.
For us, accuracy is key.
And in our reporting, we strive not only to be first,
but fair.
Impartial.
And to uphold journalistic integrity.
Above all, we are accountable to you, and we must respect the views of our audience. That is our solemn contract with you.
Keen attention to detail.
Rigorous verification of facts.
Use of credible sources and sound editorial judgment.
Keep track of our editorial policies and guidelines, including our corrections policy, by logging on to www.guardian.co.tt for more.
Attention all listeners, are you ready for the ultimate news experience? Introducing the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, the nation's first and most subscribed newspaper. We deliver where others can't. With the widest delivery network in TNT, you can have the Guardian delivered right to your doorstep or office every single day. Take advantage of our special annual subscription offer so you can stay on top of the leading stories even when you're on the go. Sign up today. Time is running out. Inquire about our 3-month and 6-month packages as well.
All right, I'm just talking to the team, and we're definitely going to get into the details where you can put in the request to join me on the couch like Robert, or via the Zoom line like Abeo earlier on. You're sending that request to, let's put it up, tmb@cnc3.co.tt, our generic email address. We look forward to seeing you soon. Now, we are very active via the social media, Instagram, Facebook, and X. That's where you get all your news. And you could also get it via our mobile app, the CNC3 mobile app, your #1 source for verified breaking news. Get all your content on demand and programming details. We head across to The Guardian. 108 years of legacy. This is part of history. And we continue to bring you the news. Of course, we continue to move with the times. Certainly, you can enjoy The Guardian via your tablet, laptop, or mobile when you visit guardian.co.tt. So, subscribe today. Let's head across to our food for thought. Words to inspire on this Tuesday morning. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. We didn't read this I think let's tie a rope on this and move on to the next one. Yeah? I think I read this about a day ago. What's that one? So let's tie a rope on that quote and bring a new one. Thank you. Up next, Jamak with your world weather wrap. Jamak, good morning.
Good morning. In today's weather wrap, we head over to Afghanistan, where a magnitude 6.3 earthquake struck their northern region near the major city of Mazar-e-Sharif around 1 a.m. local time on Monday. Local authorities reported at least 20 people have died and more than 530 injured, a toll that is expected to rise as rescue efforts continue. The U.S. Geological Survey issued an orange alert indicating that significant casualties are likely. The earthquake, which had a depth of 28 kilometers, caused many residents to rush into the streets, fearing collapse, and led to a power outage across the country, including in the capital, Kabul, due to damaged supply lines. Most injuries in the Balkh province were caused by people falling from tall buildings. Reports also indicate minor damage, including debris at the historic Blue Mosque. Afghanistan is highly prone to earthquakes due to its location along fault lines, and its lack of earthquake-resistant infrastructure often hampers rescue operations. Now over to the Philippines, where more than 150,000 people have been evacuated from their eastern provinces as Typhoon Tino approaches from the Pacific. The typhoon, packing sustained winds of up to 140 kilometers per hour, made landfall late last night in eastern Samar. Authorities warned of torrential rains, potentially destructive winds, and storm surges up to 3 meters. Inter-island ferries and fishing boats have been restricted, stranding thousands of passengers. The typhoon is expected to batter central island provinces, which are still recovering from a recent magnitude 6.9 earthquake. Officials are moving displaced residents from flimsy tents to sturdier shelters. Additionally, villagers near Canlaon volcano were warned about the risk of volcanic mudflows due to the heavy rain. Residents are cooperating with evacuations, mindful of the devastating impact of 2013's Typhoon Haiyan. I'll have more on that for you tomorrow in the aftermath of the typhoon. Now for our local weather forecast for today. Sunny conditions will be interrupted by a few showers with the low chance of an isolated thunderstorm during the morning, but that chance increases as we head into the afternoon, where they will tend to favor western areas of Trinidad. Conditions should be mostly settled by the evening. That's all for today's weather up. Back to you.
Jamak sincere thanks. As we look to pull the curtains down, let's remind you of our headlines on this Tuesday morning. That's right, we head back to the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, and indeed we are seeing here Maduro's days numbered, as suggested by the President of the United States. Also, national pride shines in South. Members of the San Fernando Central Secondary School, School Tasker Group, you know, they're there for the celebrations there. I think they have lots of celebrations happening for the entire month of November there in San Fernando. And of course, the Prime Minister, her first official visit to Tobago, she touched the soil last evening, and she'll be there for the course of for the course of the day today for meetings. Back page, boy, the big game there in the South Run yesterday. Naps revived their title hopes. So kudos there, 2-0. Naps the winners in yesterday's Clasico. With that, we're going to make our exit. Have yourselves a fantastic day, Trinidad and Tobago. Here's hoping that we are here tomorrow, God spare, to do it all over again. Until then, be safe and all the best.
Brew is brought to you by Omega XL. Live long, stay strong.
You're watching CNC3. The views and opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of CNC3.
Hi, I'm John Walsh. I'm here to tell you that joint pain doesn't have to be a life sentence. That's why there's Omega XL, a one-of-a-kind, natural, powerful joint relief supplement. It's natural, it's drug-free, it's really small, easy to swallow. It has over 35 years of clinical research supporting it. I'm asking you to trust me now. I'm taking Omega XL